And something we also wanted to mention about Kenya, is that it's a neocolonial government, right? Kenya was, as we know, colonized by the British, and the Mau Mau under Dedan Kimathi, led a really brave struggle against the British government. What we're seeing in Haiti is also neocolonialism. This is why we understand that uniting the African nation is a really critical question. And Africans in the U.S., Africans in Haiti, Kenya, Burkina Faso, really must unite to overturn the colonial mode of production, because we are one people, right? We are one African nation, and this colonial system, is born out of the attack on African people. Chairman has always said that, you don't, again, and I've said this before on the show, that, again, you don't get on the boat as an African, you don't come off the boat as anything else. Well, I'm kind of butchering what he's saying, but that's the logic behind what he's saying there, right? So we understand that we are one African people. All of these attacks that we're seeing is an attack. An attack on Haiti is an attack on an African in St. Louis. It's an attack on an African in Alabama. It's an attack on African in Virginia. It's an attack on African in Burkina Faso. So we just wanted to mention that, and the concept of the African nation is really important to African internationalism. So when we see these kinds of attacks, it's really important that we put it into the context of colonialism, because all of these different forms of repression stem from and reinforce the world economic system that we identify as the colonial mode of production. Right, and this is a world socioeconomic system that functions by the exploited labor of colonized people. So when we see war come out like this, when we see the attacks on African migrants, it's all a part of this colonial system that has at its basis and as its logic the expropriation of land and labor. Right, that's what keeps the sort of engine of colonialism running, and the engine of the economic system that we call capitalism, which stems from colonialism. Keeps it going and keeps it reinforcing itself. Kamara, did you want to add something?
I do. When it comes to this, what we're really witnessing over in Haiti, even Kenya, is just that really brutal example of that neocolonialism. It's an action to where the foreign powers that they continue to dominate the people, exploit our African people, and it's through these puppet regimes and the military, really, and that occupation in the areas. And what we're seeing now is our sisters and brothers, they're in that struggle. Haiti's in struggle, Kenya too. But what we're seeing is that they're uniting, as you mentioned, of the African nation. And I mean, just across the borders, languages, and territories.